Hi everyone, welcome back to another SimplePlanes video. In this video, I'll be putting the finishing touches on the FMC. So, let's get started. So you may notice that a few things have changed since I finished my last video, and these are not too much really. All I've really done is just copied the FMC to the left, and I've made some of the changes to the variables. It's pretty simple moving the FMC to the left. All I need to do is copy the physical FMC parts into a new file, then find and replace everything that says FMCR with FMCL. Then I can add that FMC into my main file as a subassembly. And then for the variables, again, it's pretty simple. I just need to copy everything that says FMCR, and then paste that, and then find and replace everything that says FMCR with FMCL. Then the hard part is really the core variables, because they're all coded, well at least they were all coded, to just be with FMCR. So if FMCR page is, 70, and FMCR select option is 20 or whatever it would be, then do some other functions. So what I've been doing is for every single variable, I've noted the FMCR current page and FMCR select option states, and then I've said if FMCR current page is 20 and FMCR select option is 20, or FMCL select option or current page is 20 or 20, then do the rest of the code. Now, that's simple on paper, but you have to remember, I have over 500 variables, and some of those variables are really, really long. So it's actually taken me a little while, and I also haven't finished all of it, because I'm going to be showing you how I'm doing this. For some of the variables, it was really simple as you saw, where I just copy a large group of them, and then I just replace, say, FMCR with FMCL. But for other ones, especially the waypoint number lists, those have a literal paragraph of code, and I can't just copy it and paste it. So I actually have to manually, and I do mean manually because there's no real way I can just do a simple algorithm to replace everything that says FMCR with FMCL. So I've already done a smaller one of these like large lists, and that one is the custom waypoint number. That's a pretty big one, but it's pretty small actually. And you can see here, I have the original somewhere, but essentially instead of having just FMCR, I put a couple clamper ones around it, and I'm just saying if the current page is 78 or the 40, or the select option is 40 for FMCR, or if those are true for FMCL. So if all this is true, then run the rest of the code. For a lot of these variables, and I'll just take it off forward that, I've just copied the FMCR ones and then just renamed it to FMCL, so I have twice as many variables for these ones. That's the easiest way I can think of doing it. And remember, it's not the number of variables that matters, it's the amount of code total. So if I have one variable with a really, really long amount of code versus a bunch of variables that just have a little bit of code, those bunch of variables are going to be less performance impactful than the one long variable. And luckily, for almost all the variables, it was a simple case of just copying and pasting, but there are a few areas where I'm going to have to manually work on it, and that is, where is it? How many variables do I have? No. Oh yep, here it is. It's this. So what I have to do is I'm just going to separate it out. So for every single instance of FMCR current page and FMCR select option, I have to change that to be FMCR current page and select option, or FMCL current page and select option. I also, for some reason, had the select option at the end rather than just right after the current page, so I have this extra step of moving that to here. Now, I only have to do this big paragraph, and I can just copy and paste it for the other ones and just change the page. So instead of 15, I do 16, and so on. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, say, copy all of the select options to here. Then I'm going to just make my replacement activator, so clamper 1, this equals 1, and then inside that's going to be clamper 1 equals 1, or clamper 1 equals 1. And then I'm going to take this, put it in here, then I'm going to put it in here as well, but change it to FMC L. And then whenever I see something like this, I'm going to replace that with this. And then where is my other one? And then for here, I'm just going to note that it's page 15 and it's option 30. Paste this, then change that to 15 and 30, and 15 and 30. Then I'm going to repeat that for the entire paragraph. And that should be complete. Now the way we can check to see if we've done everything is you can just use find and replace. We'll just find FMC R in selection, count, 100 matches, FMC L should be 100 matches. There we go. So either we completely missed one, or we've, as I hope we have gotten every single FMC R and replaced it with FMC R or FMC L. Then we can just put this variable back together, and then I just want to check if I've written the variable correctly. I should have, but we can just check to see if the variable setter throws up any errors, which looks like it hasn't. So now we can go ahead and test everything we've done, and the thing is, I need to do this for all 25 waypoints, because I've need to check that every single part of that code works correctly for every single screen. So it's this one here, so the flight plan 1. And if this one flight plan works correctly, then we can just copy it to the other ones because it's the same code for all the other ones. So basically, what I should be able to do is type in any waypoint here, and it's really helpful having a list of waypoints here, so I can just check that now. And then I can type them in here, and then click add, and if I've done this, and if I've done this right, I should be able to control that from here, and I can. So now I'm going to just check that all 25 waypoints, or really all 25 slots, can have a waypoint entered into them from each of the 2 FMCs. So I'll just go ahead and do that. And I have done that. What made this really easy was that I could just make a custom waypoint, make it just the same letter, and then I could just do that. So now I can just delete all of these. Well, I found a bug. Let me just check what page we're on. 153, so on page 153, 153, the select option 60 does not work to delete. And that is 100% something in here. So we can just find FMC R code page equals 153. Find next. Here it is. And this is an issue with the select option of 60. No, it wouldn't be 60. Yeah, it's 60. I'm just gonna check something because I think I have found an actual issue with just the entire system that I just never checked before. Say I create a new flight plan, and then I'm just going to add a bunch of waypoints. So okay, so this is that page. It's not like a page 3, but it's sort of like, I guess it sort of is. Well, it's basically the same page we were on before, but for the second flight plan, not the first one. So this is a flight plan that has the original code. It doesn't have the FMCL support. So if there's a bug in here, then there's always a bug. So the bug is, yep, you can't delete this. And I'll explain why. So, the way this code works, essentially, it may seem large, but it's a lot of repeated code. It's essentially, if the FMCR current page is X, and the FMCR select option is X, and X is a specific number, and some other variables, like parameters, are true, then set the page to a number. Actually, no, not a number, not a page, the flight plan waypoint number, which is how many waypoints there are in the flight plan. Now, there's this bug that I never saw because I never fully tested this, where if you're on, not on, I keep thinking about the current page code, but if the waypoint number is 16, no, if the waypoint number is 17, and you're trying to go to 16, and you're clicking your option 60 here, which should be delete waypoint, which has worked for all the other ones, if I add an actual waypoint, I can delete it here. If you're trying to do that, this code here, which checks all the parameters, there's a mistype, like there's a typo. This should be 17, not 15, and that's our issue. And so if I save that, reload the file, and then just test this all over again. So if we're on a waypoint number of 17, like here, and we click delete waypoint, we can now go to 15, or 16, or it now works. So now I can resume testing what I was originally testing. And there we go. And then to copy this code to the other ones, it's really simple. All I need to do is just copy the entire variable. Actually, I'm just going to copy the internal code. So I copy all of this, and then replace, say, this code with this code. And then I select it all. Some of the numbers in here are not just the current page. Just say that there's the waypoint number of 16, for example, 15, which is not what we want to replace. So I'm just going to do FMCR current page equals 15. Replace that with FMCR current page equals 16. Replace. And same for FMCL, and that's it. We've done this one. Repeat for the other three. And done. I don't actually need to test every single entry for all of those ones, because I've copied the same code. I'm just going to quickly test that adding a waypoint and deleting it works. And then because the other code worked, we just copied the other code. I'm very sure the code will work. So I'm going to say 19, add a waypoint. Of course, there's bugs. Awesome. First try. Bugs. Why? I figured out why. I copied this, so I just need to change. So basically, the way all this code works is you have, if a bunch of stuff is true, then set it to 0. Otherwise, run, and then the rest of the code, which is the same stuff over and over again, until you get, if this is true equals this, otherwise just set it to the variable, which in this case should be FMC FP5 waypoint no. But since I copied the first code, it just sets it to FPlan1, or flight plan 1. So it's a simple fix for all of these. And this is why you test code, even if you're sure that it's going to work, just test it. Even a bit. Because they always find bugs. Right, let's try that again. And now I've found even more bugs, and I don't know why it's causing this one. I'm not getting my waypoints. There should be a text that shows waypoints, like here. Do any of them have it? Yeah, this one does. Why are there always bugs? That sounds like an issue with the actual label code, so now I have to look into this one. Where's my waypoints link text? 6th line. No waypoints text. Why is this? 4th line has it. That's the 4th line here. But the 6th line does not. And neither does the 5th. Oh, I can fix that. I just need to recompile the entire label again. Right, that should be done. I just need to put it into the label. But that's just this label issue. The underlying code actually still works. So let's just check that I can enter waypoints. Why are there always bugs? Now the squares aren't displaying. And now I can't even get into this one. No, never mind, I can't. Alright, there we go. Can I even enter something? Why? Well, let's check on that. That would be an issue with the storage variables, because I can't even... No, I'm just confused now. I'll just do a bit of debugging and then I'll explain what happened.
20 minutes later.
Well, I found reasons for the 2 bugs that I found. Now, the first one wasn't even a bug. It was that I was trying to type in my BBB waypoint, even though I hadn't made it. And if I just type in, say, a normal waypoint, then they'll input fine. So So that wasn't even a bug. And also, oh great, now it's broken. Well, I'll figure out this new bug later. The other bug is in relation to the multi-selector. So you can see here we have the parameters that activate the boxes. Now if we go here to wherever it was, so if FMC current page is 19, which it is, and FMC FP1 waypoint number is greater than 0, equals 1, or and then so on, then display boxes. Now when I made this, I copied the code for flight plan 1, which is the 15 string of pages, and then renamed 15 to 16 and so on, all the way to 19, with the other group's pages. But I never renamed FP1 to FP5 or 4 or so on. So that's the explanation for the only real bug. That should be 5. And I'm just going to go ahead and change this for, well, I would assume all of the multi-selectors. Does 3A have the same problem? Where is it? Yep, it does. Alright, I'll go and fix that.
Many minutes later.
And that has been done. You can see here, boxes. I also fixed the issue where you can't actually click add waypoint. So when I was copying the variables that I had modified for FMCL over to the other 4 flight plan waypoint numbers, I renamed all the FMC, where is it? FMCL select option, no, it was FMCL current page equals 194 instead of 154 and so on. So I changed that from 15 to 19, like the group of pages. And I also set it to the FP1 waypoint number at the bottom here, but I also missed the other 50 instances of FMC FP1 waypoint number throughout the entire code, as well as the part where it checks if there's something in the variables, which in, say, this one, which I haven't done yet, just so I can show you, I have, where is it again? Well, I'm not sure where it was, but basically, I'd forgotten to, as well as the FP1 to 5 waypoint number variable issue, I also forgot to change the 15 group to the 19 group for these var numbers. So instead of displaying FMC 19 and so on, I had FMC 15 and so on. And so those two things contributed to make it impossible to click add waypoint. The reason it worked before is because there was in fact a waypoint in the first flight plan. And so now those two bugs are fixed, there's just two simple things I want to work on. One thing is so simple I can just do it like right now, and that is to get rid of the execute key and the space key and just have two big backspace and delete keys. No, well, backspace and delete are the same thing, and then there's the clear. So the execute key, I think it has a function in real life, but it has no purpose in my FMC, so goodbye. The space key doesn't really need to be there, and it doesn't need to not be there, but it has no purpose in a 6-character string, so goodbye. And then with that, I can then widen the other two keys, so I'll just make its X position halfway between this one and this one, and then I can just increase the width until it looks about right. And I think that's good enough. And I can use that width on the other key, and then make its X position in between these two keys. Done. And there we go. And the second one, which is a little bit more complicated, is basically I want to have a way to make negative numbers. So with these custom waypoints, you can type any string you want, of course, like BBB. And then you have your latitude and longitude. Now, even the latitude and longitude, as well as any other string you put into this FMC, is stored in the form of my numeric value, like the numeric code which converts things like, I don't know, A to 13 and so on. So all the characters on this keypad have a number code they're assigned. Now, for the use in the waypoint system, which is not for this video, I want to have negative numbers, or be able to input negative numbers in the custom waypoint section. That's what this button's going to do, and it's just going to make the numbers in this temporary value negative or positive, and then it's going to put that negative somewhere in here. I've already done the first part of this somewhere, and that's in the variable is FMC number. I think that mine knows FMCR or FMCL is their number. There you go. And if I put in a number, you can see here it's 1. But actually, I don't think that's relevant to what we're trying to do, but I have that variable, I guess. So what I want to do is I want to have another variable for each of these, 8 strings, because I have latitude and longitude for 4 different waypoints. 4 times 2 is 8. So I want to have 8 new variables, and each of them sets the state of some other stuff. So I'm just going to create some variables, and then write some code, and then I'll show you what I've got.
1 hour later.
And that has been done. So you can enter in a name that hasn't changed, and then for the latitude and longitude of any custom waypoint, you can have a negative number, not just a positive number. So you can enter in, say it's a positive, and it'll work, and then you can say on the right, say a negative, and that'll also work. And the way this works is I actually store a value for the negative separate to the string for the latitude on the FMC. And then I have some code for the label, which is pretty much if this variable is -1, display a dash, which is that minus sign. Otherwise, just display nothing. Same for the temporary value. You can see the right bracket moves if I type in, not type, but if I press the plus or minus button. And there's also some other backend code that goes along with this, which is for the waypoint system eventually. So, in the waypoint system will not use my custom waypoints. Well, it will, but it won't use the names. It'll just read if the name they've entered in the flight plan is that of a custom waypoint, like I don't know, 88888H. Then read the latitude and longitude from custom waypoint 1 latitude, and this number here is currently -333,333, because that's what I have in here. There's also another important variable, which when I showed you the is there a number variable for the FMCR, I was actually trying to think of this one, FMCR temp var as number. This variable takes anything entered in the temporary value and converts it to a number. And then when I write that to the custom waypoint 1 latitude or longitude or any of those variables, I then times this number by -1 if this is set to negative, and then I put it in here. I'll just show you some of the variables. So here we have the latitude and longitude ones for all the custom waypoints. We have an activator, which is taken from the code that writes it to this variable here, and then if this activator code is true, then set it to a variable times the temp var's number, then otherwise write some other code. So the FMCR temp var negative is another one, and that is 1 if this is just nothing, and it's -1 if there is a dash displayed. Well, actually, it's the other way around. The dash is displayed if that code's -1, and there's no dash if it's 1. So it's not, the variable is not dependent on the state of the dash. So that way, even though I'm always timesing it by something, if it's 1, you just have the same number. But if it's -1, that's how you invert, like flip the sign around. So you have the opposite of what it was. So if it's -1, set it to 1. If it's 1, set it to -1. And I was about to go and end the video here, but there's actually one more thing I forgot to do. I forgot to make the reset FMC or RMC work. All it does is just set you to the home page. It doesn't actually reset anything. It actually doesn't even reset the other page too, so I have a bit of coding to do, so I'll go and code that, and then I will show you what that does. Like, it's really simple. Well, that was easy. And now the reset works. It was really simple. I actually thought it was going to be hard, but it's like really simple. All I needed to do was just times all the variables for FMC and RMC by the reset RMC. So the reset RMC is 0 when it's actually resetting stuff, and then otherwise it's 1. So I just have all of the original code for any variable in brackets for all of the FMC variables. Then I have reset FMC times and then that code. So whenever this we set FMC as 0, everything's times by 0, making it 0 instead of whatever it was, therefore resetting it. But I have some stuff set up. I have my frequencies in the VHF, and then some stuff from the transponder screen, then some stuff for the FMC. I have an origin, destination, and flight number, then I have some stuff in the setup page. So if I reset the RMC, then it sets both pages to the VHF page, because there's no like home page for the RMC, but I guess VHF is like sort of home page, I don't know, but I just set it to VHF page, and everything you can see here, everything is cleared. And then for the FMC, it's the same idea. Reset, confirm, and then it sets both pages to home, and you can see here everything has been reset. And with that, the FMC is finally complete. Everything I ever wanted it to do is done. So that will be it for this video. In my next video, I'll be working on finishing the center panel and the overhead panel. And then I can assemble these two into the cockpit. So I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!